Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Beginning with His Excellency Sardar Mahmood Khan, the Honorable President of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, and the respected brother Zafar Ahmed Qureshi, the Chairman of Kashmir Campaign Global. I thank all my co-panelists who have shown enormous compassion for the sufferings of the fellow Muslim brothers and sisters in occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and the rest of Hindutva held India, I must say. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stand up to the Hindutva war crimes involving the ethnic cleansing of Muslims in Kashmir and in India. This is serious. As Brother Mujahid, Dr. Mujahid of Kashmir Youth Alliance just asked some very, very real questions, very troubling questions. So, truth be told, Kashmir is bleeding for decades. The oppression has increased multiple times under Modi. For years, we are all holding conferences, almost all around the globe, knocking even the doors of the superpowers like the USA and the UK. Why hasn't it worked? Today, I'll tell you why it hasn't worked and why it won't work this way. And as the Honorable British parliamentarian Sarah Owen just mentioned, that the global powers are looking for their own interests, since the global decision makers, for freedom of democracy is at the United Nations Security Council, and that center of global power has its own parameters for taking any action. The parameters of interest, vested interests, business interests. The international powers are held ransom to the geopolitical economic power today. Let's be truthful. That's why you see their acts are so duplicitous. These power centers don't decide on the basis of who is being oppressed and how many Muslims are being massacred. It decides on the basis, decides the act of the command and control. And who is challenging their command and control? It decides on that. And Taliban is an example. And that Muslims of Kashmir are not capable of creating such a scenario. They are weak. The interest of the Almighty United Nations lies in converting a Muslim Kashmir into a Muslim-free Davos. Another Switzerland, where the global corporate elites can dump their ill-gotten dollars and swim in the pool of English wine. And here we are, foolishly barking up the wrong tree. Kashmir for them is a beautiful piece of picturesque real estate, nothing else. Sorry to say that, but it's the truth. For those of my co-panelists and the audience of this conference who have suffered, who haven't suffered Hindutva tyranny or ethnic and religious bigotry, I myself stand as a living example. Someone who has been there and done that. If you want to understand how life is like for the Muslims of Kashmir and the Muslims of India under the Hindutva terrorist regime in general, you need to study the life of the noble companions of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The lives of Sayyidina Bilal bin Rabaha, Sayyida Sumayya bint Khayyat, and Sayyidina Yasir bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. Do you think that there was any shortcoming in their services to their slave masters? For example, Sayyidina Bilal was serving Umayyah ibn Khalf, and the Yasir family was serving Bani Makhzum, and they were all giving their full service to them. But were the mushrikeen satisfied with their work or their performance? No. They were tormented despite performing their best duties. The enmity of the mushrikeen was not with the slave, but with their faith. They wanted the Ashab Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to abandon their religion and begin worshipping the idols. Exactly the same thing is going on in India today. Truth be told, Muslims from Kashmir to Kerala, all across India, are being dragged out of their houses, beaten up, lynched, raped, burned, jailed, and hanged. So I must say Modi is modern day Abu Jahl. Look at what he is doing as we talk here. He and his death cult RSS is building a temple, a Mabad al-Shirkiya, by destroying a 4th-century-old masjid, a Babri masjid. Having locked Kashmiris down militarily, he is up to his sinister goal of ethnic cleansing Muslims in Kashmir, while appeasing his fanatic Hindutva gang by constructing temples, destroying masajid. This is what is going on right now. He's a fanatic religious bigot who knows no legislation and cares a damn about international laws and human rights. Let the fact be told. History is full of such despicable tyrants, their painful end. Something like this had happened in Kosovo in 1999 when a Modi-like madman, the Serbian military dictator, Slobodan Milosevic, with his 40,000 Serbian army men and heavy weaponry, had surrounded the ethnic Albanians and had begun shooting, killing, raping the Kosovans in Kosovo. Then the global community, headed by the President Bill Clinton, had swung into action and bombed the fascist Serbian forces into surrender and submission. Is it not the history? Yes, it is. It took 19 countries and 78 days of military operation, followed by a United Nations Security Council resolution to get the Albanians back home and a permanent peace and security in the region. This is history. So, what is my idea? Exactly the same kind of ethnic cleansing is happening in Kashmir today. 70 years of diplomacy has failed and yielded no result. Time for a military coalition and action. My advice is 57 countries, 57 days. OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, is the best alliance to counter Modi's madness. This is our last best chance to stop the genocide and replace violence with peace. We have had a bloody century in the Indian subcontinent due to this Hindutva fanaticism. 100 years. We are bleeding. Why do we need a military operation? It's because nothing else can stop the Hindutva madness, because Modi believes he can get away with whatever brutality he conducts on the innocent Kashmiris and innocent Indian Muslims. And that is why Hindutva regime has constantly violated its commitment to the United States Security Council resolution. Has it not? Yes, it has. And I have 2 points of suggestion to make for the solution of Kashmiri problem. These are very important. Point number 1, open Pakistani citizenship for the oppressed Muslims of Kashmir in India and also in India. Why? Because yesterday or today, the Pakistani government has released a new geopolitical map with Kashmir as its integral part. My question is, and those under the map should have the nationality. So let's open a window of nationality. That's first thing. Because if you claim that this is my part, okay, whoever is living there has to be your citizen. On the other hand, there are a lot of people in Kashmir who are dying, and they're being given coffin or the shroud in Pakistani flag. So if they can go to their grave wrapping a Pakistani flag, why can't they live with a green passport for that matter? Let them have that. Okay? Or otherwise, it'll not be walking the talk. It will not be walking the talk. When you say, okay, military solution is not an option, then why are you doing that? Second, as I said, first is open the door of Pakistani nationality for the Kashmiri people. Second, 57 nations, 57-day military operation. Bombed the bloody Modi into submission. That is the option. Other than that, I don't see that Modi is ready for negotiation. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan offered him the chances of negotiation a number of times, and he rejected in his arrogance. He has millions of fanatic Hindus behind him, and he has declared power, and he is not going to listen to you. You try hard. Because Milosevic didn't understand. Milosevic had only 40,000 army men. Here in Kashmir, we have 100,000. or maybe more, 1 million. 1 million armed fanatic Hindutva forces are surrounding, besieging, and locking down Kashmir. And you think you can talk him through? I don't think so. An example for this is we just heard that we are not putting our stories and the narratives are not going through. We talk a lot about our narratives and the stories and the media. My dear brothers and sisters, do you see the superpowers talking to Taliban? What media houses did they have? What narratives did they build? Everything in the media, Western and Eastern, was against them. And despite that, the Western powers are bowing down to them. They are going to speak to them. They are dealing at their terms and conditions. Do you know why? Because a force for a force. And that's what is the sunnah of our Rasul, by the way. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.